With the premier motorsport destination set amidst the scenic landscapes of southwestern Slovakia, welcome to the Slovakia Ring. Located near the capital of the country, Bratislava, it's a blend of natural beauty and cultural richness. The region also boasts expansive fields, serene rivers and picturesque villages that offer a glimpse into traditional Slovak life. Whether you're here for the high-octane excitement of the racetrack or to explore the historical and natural treasures nearby, Slovakia promises an unforgettable experience for every visitor. This weekend, the Slovak Karting Centre plays host to the halfway point of the Champions of the Future season. With over 160-plus drivers in both OK and OKJ categories, this weekend is set to be a challenge for many. With limited data on the circuit, drivers and teams are going to have to dig deep to find the right setup. And for championship leaders Zach Drummond in OK and Dries van Langendonk in OKJ, the halfway point of the season couldn't be more important for both of them. Thanks to P1 Fuels and Maxi tyres, the drivers are set to tackle this 1.1-kilometre circuit, again with all that limited data. So, all that's left to say is to sit down, buckle up and get ready for an action-packed weekend of racing.
Well, here we go then for OK Junior drivers from the age of 12 to 14. Bumper entry of 92 here this weekend from 37 nations across the world. Looking at the engines that they're running with this weekend, 125cc engines making 29 brake horsepower. The minimum weight for the driver is 140 kilograms total, including the driver. The kart itself without fuel, only 70 kilograms. Here are your tyres. They're all going to be in use this weekend. The options for the drives, the rain tyres, 2 sets of them across the course of the weekend. Those drive 1.5 sets of tyres plus the new set for the final is what they will use here this weekend. Tough conditions for OK Junior on Friday. It started off with wet races for the first round of heats. Provided a number of thrills and spills after a mixed qualifying as well. A number of the championship contenders starting further down the order. Not in that group was Kenzo Craigie, looking to continue the good form from France in round number 2. He had a great fight with Lev Krutilov for what would turn out to be a race win after a penalty for Krutilov. He would continue good form through the second set of heats. Fights amongst the Ricky Flynn Motorsport drivers as well. They would have a tussle. But it would be Harrison Mackie for Fusion Motorsport taking the first of 2 race victories. He would end the day on top of the intermediate classification. Filippo Sala was one of the front-running RFM drivers looking for good results. There'll be contacts a number of times through turn number 3 for the drivers, a very tricky part of the course. But at the end of day 1, it would be Mackie on top on 100 points. Costoya would be second on 94, and then Daniel Kelleher as well in third on 80. Saturday for OK Junior was all about qualifying through to the SuperHeats. Ricky Flynn Motorsport showed they once again had good pace in the dry conditions. The day started with a keen battle between teammates Filippo Sala and Sebastian Mins. First advantage would go to Mins. He would take the first race victory. Meanwhile, Nicholas Schaufler knew it was a big day for him. He needed to score points with championship contender Dries van Langendonk having a tough weekend here in Slovakia. He would take advantage, pulling himself through into the top 10, getting more championship points on the board. Harrison Mackie as well was looking to continue the form that he had on Friday, but would have a tougher time with things on the way to trying to add race victories to his tally. Alfie Slater as well returned with some good form, despite him nearly losing a race win on the last lap in his battle with Rocco Coronel. Moving through the order as well was Christian Costoya, the Spaniard, showing once again he's in true form in 2024. 3 race victories out of 5 for Powlin Motorsports driver. No results worse than third. He would emerge on top at the end of 5 rounds of racing. Rocco Coronel would also race through to a strong finish. Having a tough time though were Forza Racing. As mentioned, Dries van Langendonk having a tough weekend. Aaron Kara Osman retiring from one of their races early on. Andrea Marni had flashes of speed, but in the end would slip behind others in his races. It really has been a weekend of tough trials for Forza Racing. We'd finish with Costoya, as mentioned, on top. Mackie P2, Filippo Sala with a late win to P3, and of Mins and Kraling. Yeah, we had 2 of those super heats earlier on this morning. The first of them saw Christian Costoya take things from pole position, knowing that if he won this race, he'd have pole position for the final. He looked to dominate early on. Good scraps in the middle of the field there with Kenzo Craigie trying to make his way through. Battles between the Ricky Flynn Motorsport teammates. We've seen this quite a few times this weekend with Alfie Slater getting through there. But it was Costoya who did indeed take the first Superheat win. Into Superheat number 2. This time it was Mackie leading from pole position. Nicholas Schaufler knowing that his title rival Dries van Langendonk needed to race through the field, and it all ended for the former championship leader on lap 1. A big story here this weekend. Dries van Langendonk doesn't even make it into this final. Andrea Manni trying to race through as well. Schaufler took advantage, took the race win, and also extended his championship lead to currently 20 points over Van Langendonk. As we say, he's not in this race. Further 6 points to Coronel. To be clear, Schaufler can't win the title here today. That is going to go on, of course, to Kristenstad. But the Austrian could take a huge, huge step towards becoming Champions of the Future champion in OK Junior if he can have a good race here and third on the grid.
But are we going? Yes, we are. Green flag and racing in the junior category. Down in towards turn 1. Great start for Costoya, but look where Schaufler's gone. Down to P5. That is exactly what Costoya wanted to happen. It is drama at the back of the grid, and it looks like a handful of drivers have been caught out there in the form of Jacopo Martinez, I think, got caught out. Vladimir Ivanikov got caught out. Boris Lysin is off there, and Sunna Z.
And it's out are 2 more drivers. It's Jesse Phillips, who started at the back of the field, has gone. Struggled maybe a little bit in terms of dry condition pace. Changed for second. Kamyab past Kraling. Down the inside goes Baglin on championship leader Nicholas Schaufler.
This is a replay. Nicholas Schaufler on an attack on Noah Baglin. That didn't work out. Oh dear, a big hit on that rear bumper there.
First from ourselves to take a victory, but down the inside goes Baglin on Mackie. Well, we've seen that move coming from Baglin. That's good for 4th place. Schaufler's advantage is, down the inside goes Craigie, getting another position there. I think that was on Sebastian Mins for 8th place, and here comes Scott Marsh as well. Scott Marsh improving all the time. Well, we saw.
Here we go.
3 is down the inside. Here goes Kraling for P2. Lovely move by the German. As dear, out of the race.
Is that Kinmark?
It's Kinmark indeed, and Sebastian Mins.
Kinmark's on the inside, and then, now does Kinmark get helped there by the kart behind into Sebastian Mins?
Here for round number 1 is Baglin down the inside of Kamyab. That's for 3rd place. Another decisive move there from Noah Baglin. 2.2 seconds is now the gap, and here goes Baglin down the inside. It's a repeat move. It's exactly the same one, but this time Kraling fights back. He's going to be on the outside now for turn 14, then 15. Kamyab fights back as well, trying to reclaim 3rd place, but Baglin is now into 2nd place.
Jack Ilow sees a warning flag. Big send there for Schaufler as he goes through on Kamyab's. You know, that normal racing line, and that's another massive send for Schaufler on Ian Kraling. Now Krailing's having to fend off Kamyab. Kamyab's been swamped. Look who's come through. It's Scott Marsh. Scott Marsh on an absolute charge here. Kenzo Craigie's there with Harrison Mackie. Coronel is closing in as well. Rocco Coronel is in P10 as Kamyab goes back down the inside. Sala follows through.
Christian Costoya wins in Slovakia and takes 50 championship points, elevates himself to 5th in the standings. A tremendous performance from him and Paralympic Motorsport, one of the most dominant victories we've seen this year.
Finishing in 3rd place, your new championship leader from Austria is Nicholas Schaufler. In 2nd position, representing the United Kingdom, give it up, it's Noah Baglin. And finally, your race winner and 3rd different final winner of the championship. Give it up for Spain's Christian Costoya!
It was an incredible race. I don't have voice to speak about the races. I don't know, I just tried to do my best, manage the tires. It was a lot of laps. When I see I have a lot of space, I just do my best and take this victory.
Let's take a look at the senior category. 14 plus years of age, 74 entries into this weekend with 32 different nationalities. Great to see so many drivers from around the world. Look at the engines, 125cc, 39 brake horsepower and a minimum weight of 150 kilos. That is total, driver included, 70 kilos without fuel or driver themselves. The tyres that they'll be using over the weekend, they'll need to use both the Maxxis Prime and of course the Maxxis Rain tyres that they'll use. The 6 tyres over the course of the weekend, a new set for the final and 2 sets of wet tyres to use over the entire weekend. The first 6 races of the weekend for the senior category were a very exciting set of races. Drivers having to deal with both wet and dry conditions over the course of the day. But as the track dried out, Alexander Bondarev would find himself on top in his first race. Mateusz Morgato would fight back as well after having to deal with wet conditions in qualifying. He would take his first race win of the weekend after battling fiercely with Scott Lindblom. Jindřich Peschel, the outright pole sitter from qualifying, took his first win of the weekend as well in the first half of the first day of the weekend. Then it was Joe Turney from Kai Rillarts and Finn McLaughlin who would round out the winners over the first day of racing. But it certainly means that at the end of this weekend, we have no idea who's going to be leading the intermediate classifications. Saturday's qualifying heats certainly were an exciting one for so many drivers, and at the start of the day, unfortunately for Bernardo Bernoldi, going out on the inside of the curb and out of the race on the wet conditions. Kai Rillarts certainly took like a duck to water. He was leading the way and actually lapped some drivers 3 times in that first race, with some drivers deciding to go for slick tyres even while the rain was falling. Racing continued. Morgato took his first win of the day. He certainly had a very good start, taking the first win in the second race. Jindřich Peschel certainly dominated as well, taking a win in all 3 segments of the second day of racing. Later on in the race, though, Gomez, Turney, Morgato all fighting, but unfortunately, VDK's Matt Corby also got caught out as he went off at turn number 3. Another one of the VDKs was Thibaut Ramekers, who slid under the radar a little bit at the start of the day, but certainly came into his own at the end. Unfortunately, more spills as Michael Adair went off at turn number 15, as well as Thibaut Ramekers and Mark Brovko going off at turn number 2. Later on in the day, though, Ramekers fighting back, getting the good results that he needed, certainly put himself up in the IC, but didn't find himself on the front 2 rows despite taking multiple wins over the course of the day. Jindřich Peschel again with Mark Brovko going wide once more at turn number 2, just clipping that camera at the exit of turn 2. But again, Peschel taking the checkered flag. He would have 3 qualifying heat wins over the second day of racing. Joe Turney again fighting back in the latter stages of the day, really showing what the Briton could do after a bad qualifying. But this moment here with Jimmy Elias and Rillarts secured Rillarts a start on the front row. But Noah Montero would end the day on top. It all started very well in the starting day for all of the seniors, and Jindřich Peschel, who certainly had the best opportunity to come away with maximum points, started on pole, but Thibaut Ramekers certainly had something to say about that one as he ploughed his way through the field. Peschel did have points in the bag, though. He knew he could start on pole, but it would have been Thibaut Ramekers taking the first win of the Superheat phase of the weekend. Superheat 2 for the seniors, and this saw Kai Rillarts, who had the opportunity to start on pole for this final. All he had to do was win this race. Unfortunately, though, that didn't go his way, with Montero getting the lead on the opening lap. Drama would come for many more drivers, so many drivers getting knocked out of this race and not being able to take part in the final. There was the lead change, and there was the win. Noah Montero taking it all the way to the end, but that would mean that Jiri Peschel would start on pole, with Kai Rillarts starting alongside. Jiri Peschel here, who's starting on pole position with a fantastic weekend of racing, winning all but one of his qualifying heats. P5 was his worst result he had this weekend. Yes, we are. We are away and racing, and it's a great start from the outside row. Lindblom covers off and gets past Ramekers, moves up into second place. That is a superb start for the driver who started P6. He is into second place already. Ramekers here in a good position, down the inside. Thank you very much. Moves up into second place and pushes himself on now to try and close up. Oh my goodness. There is a huge coming together at turn number 11. Half of the grid, I'm going to call it there, is involved in that, and there's carts up on the side. We are now under slow procedure. The race has been neutralised.
Yeah, that's got to be the right decision, because there's a number of drivers spread across the circuit trying to do their one allowed restart, and the field is coming round. What's going to happen here? Bondarev's rear axle has been shoveled up into the air a little bit, and then it's just a car park. Everybody else flying in. It looks like the M25 round London on a Friday night, and that is how everyone's come to a stop at turn 11.
Lights go green, here we go, we are now away and racing as we head down towards turn 2. Lindblom to the inside, Turney goes through, gets the switchback on both of them and moves up into second place. What's happening behind as McLaughlin goes for the move into third place. Now Turney will have to think really carefully here. And you've got pure experience from Joe Turney, and he's going to show that experience now as he sends it down the inside through turn number 7. But Turney leads the way. Now McLaughlin's going to go through as well. Finn McLaughlin looking to see if he can try and get another championship win. Jimmy Elias now looking for a move here on Peschel, and he does get through. Nicely done. And I've got to say, the Frenchman's been on form this weekend.
So if you focus your setup on that part of the circuit yourself, it acts as a defence. Through goes Ramekers on his teammate into second place. Elias has hopped through as well into third.
Still in a chance here to win, but Jimmy Elias could be a third here if he can close up to current race leader Joe Turney. Well, he's got past Timo Ramekers now. He was closing in, but now Montero's going to go through. McLaughlin's going to not lose one, but he's going to lose two.
And I tell you what, with that top 10, there's a lot to think about as here comes Cosmo Christopher trying to find a way past McLaughlin. Peschel gets back down the inside. Scott Lindblom still there as well. Yellow flag out. I think there's problems for Gabriel Gomez and Miguel Costa. There are problems for Gabriel Gomez and Miguel Costa, and Miguel Costa seems to be in a bit of discomfort there. I do hope he's okay. Out of the race as well goes that's Anatoly Kavalkin. Yes, it is.
Jimmy Elias has closed right in now, and he's going to go on the attack straight away. Not going to waste any time on Joe Turney.
Jindřich Peschel is out of this final after having dominated periods of the weekend, and a red flag. A red flag has been flown for the second time in this race, with Jimmy Elias at the front of the field at the end of lap 24.
And it has been confirmed. The race has been called. It is finished. We were on lap 23. For Romania, give it up. It's David Kozma. In second position for Belgium, it's Timo Ramekers. And finally, your race winner representing the United Kingdom, give it up for Joe Turney.
Had to push quite a lot at the start to make sure that Jindřich was not getting away too much, but hopefully he's okay after his crash, so it was pretty unfortunate for him. But then just trying to keep a gap, but started to lose a tyre a bit at the last half of the race because of how hard I pushed at the start. So Jimmy managed to get through and he was fast, so again, unfortunate for him with the nose cone. So I think in the end he had the speed all week and deserved probably to win, but it's how it goes, and we were in the right place at the right time.
After a very dramatic midway point of the season in Slovakia for round 3 of the Champions of the Future, we have new winners in both categories. For the juniors, it's Christian Costoya for Spain, who takes the win ahead of Noah Baglin and Nicholas Schaufler. In the seniors, it's Joe Turney, who takes the win after a double red flag in the final ahead of Timo Ramekers and David Kozma. But in the championship as well, it becomes very, very close, with new championship leaders going into the 4th round as we head to Sweden at Kristianstad. We have no idea who could lead this championship at the end of the season. But for right now, all of the drivers, it's an incredibly tense time as we head to round 4 in Sweden.